I believe that these creatures, they call them almasti, they are real. And later on I will show you some pictures. And after it was, I was a scientist, I was studying Orientalistic, visited southern Yemen, visited Afghanistan, lived there for long. In southern Yemen 1 year and 3 years in Afghanistan that is why it was my main occupation. But anyway, for 54 years I studied this problem, this question of snowman or Yeti or Bigfoot or Sasquatch as they call, and there are some 200 other local names of this creature. Yes. Once I was after I was working with the magazine editor. It was called Asia and Africa Today magazine. But after I established the publishing firm, which is called Cryptologos. Cryptologos means some mysterious knowledge. And our publishing firm edited several books on this subject. These are there were for Bayanov's book, Russian Snowman, In the Footsteps of the Russian Snowman. I was a publisher, but also one of the heroes of this book. And another book is America's Bigfoot, Fact Not Fiction, U.S. Evidence Verified in Russia. This book all about the study of Patterson film in our country. It started in '71 when René Dahinden from Canada came to Moscow and brought that film of Patterson. And we started to study it, and we attracted a lot of scientists to investigate these events, shown them all the film, and we came to conclusion that the film was real. We said this just in '70s. Only after 20 years in America, other researchers started to study that film, because before it was claimed as a hoax, etc. Nobody paid attention to this. But after 20 years, that was Grover Krantz, anthropologist, also John Green from Canada, and also Jeff Meldrum, and now M.K. Davis, he lives in Mississippi. We cooperated with him, they corresponded much, and we helped each other to investigate this film. And finally, I met him last year in the Oklahoma at the conference with M.K. Davis. He's a very nice man. That means this film, no doubt, it was a real event. But I published, as a publisher, I issued Bayanov's book, this one, and also there is another Bayanov book, which is called Bigfoot Research: The Russian Vision. How is our approach to this? It is also important. And because of all this occupation, I was always involved deeply in this study. I could not write myself to big books. My first book appeared in 2011, which is called New Turn in Russian Snowman Research. Why it was turn? Because before, in the 20th century, all the researchers thought that this is just a make very wild, subhuman, not human. Even sometimes they say that it does not work, does not talk, speak in human languages. Yes, that's why justice is an animal. it is a pity that till now many American scientists consider the same. They say that it is just an ape, a subhuman, not the human like. But we started to call this creature adjacent human. In Russian language, it was very fitable because we call it snowman. In Russian, it's снежный человек. But if you change only one letter, it will be смежный человек, means adjacent man. That means a snowman turned into adjacent man. And this is since the beginning of it, we found a lot of signs of their human-like activities. They're making some structures. We shall show you. Yes. I will just several words say, and after structures. They also do something handicraft like so. Also, and since 2002, we made acquaintance with Janice Carter. They prepared a book. This one. Where is your book? 50 years. Oh, yes. This is when Janice Carter was with Mary Green. They prepared this book, 50 years, with Bigfoot, Tennessee Chronicle of Coexistence. They appealed to us and asking some question if they could use some stuff from this book. And Bayanov, author of this book, answered them, and also I attended to this correspondence, and we start to know that, for example, Janice Carter told that these creatures can speak human language. We did not believe it before, but after when we start, I decided to come here, and in 2004, after 2 years, I found the opportunities, monies, etc. Somebody sponsored me, and I came to here and to visit Janice Carter property. It was a big amount, some 100 acres, some woods on that territory, some fields, etc. And I spent 5 weeks there, living in her property, her home. And I found a lot of confirmation of those, what Janice Carter and Mary Green told in this book. And after that, again in 2011, I met with Janice Carter, and she continued, though she left that property, but on another place, also she communicated with this creature. And it happened that with Robin, Lucy, you see how it happened. I was once in the conference in Ohio, and Bob Daigle showed me the picture that this creature, they have pony. Robin had pony, and this creature played the braids of that pony. But I also before studied much about the plaiting braids in our country, in the south of our country, on the Caucasus. I found a lot of such things. That is why I started to interested and come to Robin in 2011. No, before, I remember. 2010, no, I think it was 11, yes, in 2011. And I went to visit it, and I was astonished, so many footprints and other activities there. And since that, I started to cooperate with Robin in her research, and visited in 2011, spent some time, more than 2 months in 2012, and after continue. That is why we are talking together. And now I will just show some pictures, and they will continue this talking, I think.
Okay, we'll see what he's got here for us. Well, you open it up. We've also started a new project, and we are all about everybody hearing. It's called the International Commonology of the Forest People. We are strictly no-kill. We are going to be educating the public on as much information as possible. Okay. All right. Did you want to...
I'll add several. This is here. This is one huntsman in Redka first. He showed that he wrote us a letter that once he was on the hunting big bears and was waiting for bear, but this human-like being went out of the forest. He was scared, but that one was whistling, and to this huntsman. And finally, he told us that this creature makes some interesting thing in the woods. Wood, for example, they break the small trunks. Also make such a picture, such a pyramid-like structure, such one. For example, this was there in there. Look, very big trees were fixed, hanging. This, and this was that huntsman. He saw this creature seven times for 20 years. He was working in the forest, and he was first. After that, I came to Robin's property, Janice property, and made the same thing there. Here it is. Now, Janice, please, you look what they do. This. You can comment, not you.
This is a tree twist that Fox actually had taken with his bare hand and twisted it. This is quite common. They use these as markers and location. What? Oh, okay. Again, this is a close-up of how they've twisted this. They do this with their hands. We are not capable of twisting a tree this size with our hands. This is not an ordinary sapling, and this is actually a larger tree. Okay, this is a standing stone. Actually, I took Igor with me up there and married her and hosted him up there when she was alive. This is another one of their little structures up there in an area. Okay, again, the same type of tree twist.
Once, you see, Janice told that in her basement of the house in which I lived in that house, they coming one old Bigfoot, which is called Big Fox, and we went in that basement looking, and once I see there was an old armchair in that basement, and we see that on the blanket there was a necklace from silver made, silver spider. Next one you can see, this was after I photographed separately. And her friend, Tom Shirley, he said, oh, it's not from here, it's not from this. You can tell.
Okay, what had happened is he stayed with me for a total of 5 weeks. Originally he was only supposed to stay 4 weeks, but activity did not pick up and proceed until the end of the 4th week that he was there. I think that they just they have to get used to someone. You can't just come into their home, which the outside is their home, and expect them to say, "Hi, how are you?" Because you're being very invasive. And so anyway, Fox had left. Fox had blankets that we would leave out for him, and the blanket that's on the chair is in an area that he would like to get in the back corner of the basement and take a nap or sleep during the nighttime. And he left this necklace, and Lord knows where he found it, because they would bring things to me that they weren't supposed to have. They got them off of burial site graveyards. I don't know how many times they brought flowers from the graveyard, but they brought this necklace, Fox did, and actually put it inside the basement on the armchair, on the backrest of the armchair. And they wanted Igor to have that as a present from them, a gift. They love to gift back and forth. They like to actually think that they have the upper hand in the trading ordeal. It's better to exchange gifts, and they have something more valuable than what they give to you.
When we see that they are coming, I start to plow the ground to get the footprints. And
this man comes from Russia, digs up my yard, outside of the basement entrance, the doors to the basement, all the way into partially into the entrance way. I mean, a good, 5 feet inside the basement. He digs it up, he soaks it down, he puts charcoal over the top of it so that he can obtain footprints. And National Geographic had come to film us. They filmed us for 48 hours. Didn't let us change clothes and all that time. Took the worst 15 minutes of what they got on film and camera and showed that on national television, of course. Made us look like a bunch of hillbillies and idiots from Russia and Tennessee. But that's neither here nor there, because I actually got to see the evidence of what occurred.
We started to hang some food for them in the basement under the ceiling, and you see they start to move this pack. Several times they moved it, and after once it happened that I come first, they were absent somewhere. I entered the basement and I see the, oh yes, I covered with charcoal. It is better you could say. Because, these footprints happened on the floor, but it was not a thick layer of the coal. That is why they were not deep, these footprints, but they were not big, too big, just about 11 feet, inches, this, and there were some peculiarities on this side, because look, one foot is going along, another foot is across, one along and another across. This could be commended.
This is Squeaky. This is Fox's adopted son. Fox is now deceased. He has been since 2010. But Squeaky was an adopted son, and at the time he was about 5 years old. So he decided he's going to sneak into the basement. Of course, their stomachs gets the better of them. The food motivated. They're worse than a shirt on. So he has a club foot, what I call a club foot. It's like the bottom bone in the leg is twisted on the one foot. So when he tracks, one goes straight, and the next placement is the one that is actually sideways. This is the way he walks, but don't let it fool you. He can get around really quick and really good. Igor goes down. Me and the National Geographic team along with Holly, who is back there in the corner somewhere, not paying attention. And Tom Shirley, our friend at the time, actually was my boyfriend at the time, but that's neither here nor there. We're up there entertaining National Geographic film crew. Here comes Igor, all excited. Squeaky, 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 because that's the name of this individual. He says, come, quick, come, quick. And he had discovered the footprints in the basement.
But it's a pity that finally they did not include this case into their film, which they issued later, because I suppose their boss did not allow them to put in this. They did not show this in the film. And this was, I made the cast of this footprint. Look here, I'm just cleaning this of coal and other. But what was more interesting, next we went to the wood on the property. Janice and Tom said, let us go to look for hair samples. I said, what? I was a little skeptical, but I went with them. They were walking, they were doing something, finding on the brushes, and I see one big plant, grass plant, broken, as it's seen on this picture. I know that they make, they break the trees, branches, etc. It is their work. I say, oh, it is their work. Let us look around, maybe we'll find a nest or something else. And we found a big nest with 3 sections there after that. With 3 sections. One section of another section is divided with some 3, I will show you. This one, for example, it was made. I will lay it. One fir tree was bent and fixed. Another, its end was fixed under the log here, down here. And after Janice and Tom again went there and found a lot of hair in the brushes. There were barbs and some other twigs, etc. We found a lot of. Janice told that it is one. Brown hair from Brownie or from Nikki or some other black of another one. It is you can.
Okay, Fox is very, very black, or was very, very black. His hair was pitch black. The pigmentation doesn't run all the way down the hair shaft like ours. The medulla doesn't run to the end of the hair. The pigmentation was actually so dark that Dr. Henry Fehrenbach decided that he would use Fox's hair as his gold standard instead of the Pacific Northwest gold standard hair that he had held close at heart at the Primatology Center in Oregon for many, many years. He said he had not seen one that pigmented before. Squeaky's hair is black, but its pigmentation is red. Nikki is like a reddish brown color. Cinnamon is what I'd call it, closer to. And her hair still has the red pigmentation. Now, the difference between the pigmentation of them and us is a lot of human beings have gray pigmentation to their hair, even as a young juvenile person. A 5-year-old will have gray pigmentation. You can tell about Fehrenbach. Yes, I sent him off.
I know that before Janice sent the hair samples to Dr. Fehrenbach into Oregon Primate Center, and they said that there they belong to some primate, but not known on the earth what kind of this primate was. At that time there was no DNA study, that is nobody could tell exactly what was it. But what was interesting that we gave to these people from National Geographic, they said, we shall study this hair. And even for that, I went to Washington. I fled through Washington. I visited their office, but they refused. They said, no, we cannot study, and returned me that hair. That was samples, that was happened. They did not want to do this work. After that, next, this just I show, no, this one, just one. Another section of this divided from first section, just as example. There was a very, very big tree section. But after that, when we were returning home, Janice again, see what is there under her foot. Look, something you again should explain this.
Okay. This is actually a ball. This is made with the hands. It has, I don't know what kind of hair sticking out of it. It's a toy for the children to play with. If you actually had this ball, and Igor, I don't know, do you still have that? Do you still have the ball, the toy ball? The toy? You still have it. If you look at that, there are thumbprints from the clay. They moistened the dirt, made it into clay, and molded it into this ball with the hair coming out on the end of it. Here we go again. Now, as you can see, this hair is on either side of it, comes out on either end. It's actually molded into the ball. Here we go with the braiding. Okay, now, I'm off the hook for me.
And another thing, what happened in Janice property, just mentioned that they also played the braids. Oh, and in 2011, when I was in the United States, I visited Janice in another location, and what he showed me, this some big rocks, big stones, and some pictures on them, scratched with another rock. Yes, and there are interesting pictures there were. And just now, when I met Janice this time, she showed me many other pictures which it was made that time, and explained what does it mean. This is a map of their path, etc., and some animals, and they. Will you say something?
Okay, back it up. Back again. One more. Again. Again. Okay, this is a trade rock that, the one that I work with up in this area, his name is Grumpy. We call him Grumpy. He has a wife, actually he has 2 wives and 3 children. At the time, this is what we call writing rock. He is known as the keeper of the word. He writes down makes different glyphs. They also, this is going to be a long story. They have a language. They have a history. They keep a history. They make glyphs on rocks and in trees. I've seen them in caves also, of drawings. The way I know where he is at is this is our talking stone, what we call our talking stone. He will draw pictures on this, and he always represents himself with the Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is much like an eagle in this area. And this is the way he associates himself. If I were to read this, I know to take and go down the pathway and go up and across 2 ridges, and I'm going to find him over here in the valley that is past the 3rd knob. And I'm saying knob because this is like mountain area. So I'm going to go across 2 mountain ranges and across a small mountain range, which is a knob. In Tennessee we call them knobs, and I don't know what else to call them. They're hills, but they're steep hills. And I'll find him in the valley. Yes. All right, this is another one. This rock actually shows the entire mapped out area of where they are living and different family groups are. This represents him. If I don't know how to blow this picture up, but the body part down here, down, Igor. Put your pointer down, over on that. Look on here. Yes. This, they never put the face on top of the being, on top of the torso. They actually, if you could blow this up, you see the picture of the face in the torso of their being. This is the way they represent themselves. Okay, you go to the next. Again, I'm pointing it out for Igor. I have a, no, keep going. Again, that's more close up.
The idea is, I think it's enough, it's clear that they use the picture for conscious information, maps for example, or other pictures. They do this. That means they have human mind, like so. Something open. Oh yeah. What else here? Yes, that's. Yes. Okay, we now close this page, and now we're coming to Robin. Robin, whoa, it was happened in 2011 and 12, and very interesting events happened there. There were found footprints on the property. Even when we came there, it was in November, I think. Yes, in November on the sand road. About what is just close to the place where they live, we found immediately footprints on the sand. Very many. I can show you. These footprints Robin found later, and also me. I also found there another footprints. This one. It is my shoe, and here shoe, and this is footprints of bare foot we found, and her son showed the step. Kevin shows what was the length of the step. We tried to photograph with camera from the automobile. Yes, but it was fair. Yes. This happened, you see, once we come, another one. This one. Once you...
Hi, at the time, I lived in a manufactured home on 10 acres. and they would literally go and take out sections of the skirting that went around. Now that's directly under my bedroom window, and they would sit out there at night, and I could hear them. They do have a language. They have their own language, and they are very capable of speaking ours as well. It does come from a different place in the throat. If you were to have somebody run a test on it, their frequency is not the same as ours. Now they would sit under this window, and they would talk back and forth for hours at night. If I left it open, they would put their hand through, and my bed was on the other side of that window, and they would play with my hair at night, and I would wake up with mud and leaves in my hair. Now they would pull that open, and they would go under there, and you wouldn't think they could fit, but they did. And they would take their hands, and they would knock up on my floor. And so then we could then in turn go and knock down on the floor inside, and no matter where we went and knocked on the floor, they would respond. And this was a game. They would do this all night.
Once I made experience, I said, let us close their opening through which they're going under the floor of the house. And we closed this opening. This was on the, another wall. It was usually open, and sometimes you didn't say about this, but sometimes they go out of the floor and start to knock. Yes, but once I said, let us close this. After when we closed this, what they did, oh, it was very funny.
They would pull it back. He had closed it thinking that he would see what they would do. Not only did they open it up another 4 foot. Okay, this is on the siding of the house. They would come up and knock on the house at night. It got to be a really big habit where around 2 o'clock every morning, they would pound on that house, and they literally would not stop until I came outside. So the crazy person walking around in their PJs with no flashlight out in the woods at night, that would be me. And I would go out, sit on a log, and they would walk around, or they would come up close. They would cloak and come up and put their hand on my shoulder. So I could feel them squeezing my shoulder, and it was never painful, they were never rough, but yet you would not see anything. But if you looked on the ground, you would see, if it was wintertime, because this went on in the winter as well in Michigan, you would see their footprints. And they would make footprints as they were walking away, even though you could not physically see them. This is what they did to the house. And when I complained, they actually took a small pebble and shoved it up in there, because that apparently was the way to fix it. And I brought some pictures of them that I'll show you here shortly. Yeah, there's the pebble. That was their way of fixing my house. And they were quite proud of themselves. This was a house that was on the adjacent property that belonged in our family, and they had busted that siding, and that's why they put the rock in it. I said I was going to get in trouble when they filled it with a rock. You want to talk?
Once one man came with his son on the car, and they put the tent into the yard, and my tent was neighbor. Also, I live in tent in the yard. And at night we woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning of